For over 260 years, Japan lived in what seemed like perfect peace. We imagine the Edo period as a time of serene temples, elegant geishas, and honorable samurai, a beautiful, traditional world behind delicate paper walls. But that's only half the story. The truth is, behind that perfect facade, people were quietly suffocating. In reality, Edo Japan was one of the most rigidly controlled societies in human history. Imagine a life where you didn't choose your job, you didn't choose where you lived, you didn't even get to choose what you believed. Your entire life path was set in stone the moment you were born, determined by your family's status. The social order was absolute. At the top were the samurai, then farmers, artisans, and at the very bottom, the merchants. This system was designed to create stability, to lock society into a permanent, unchanging state of peace. But this peace came at a staggering cost. And here's the most shocking part of this rigid system. The samurai, the fearsome warriors everyone respected and feared, were broke. Their status was immense, but their wallets were empty. You see, samurai weren't paid in money, they were paid in rice. For a while, this worked. But as the economy evolved, inflation kicked in, and the value of rice plummeted. Suddenly, the merchants, who were officially the low class, controlled all the real wealth. They ran the rice exchanges. They were the moneylenders, and they held the entire economy in their hands. So the men with the swords, the supposed masters of Japan, found themselves bowing to the men with the ledgers. The situation became desperate. To make ends meet, many samurai had to take on secret side jobs that were considered beneath their station. Some became bodyguards for wealthy merchants, the very people they were supposed to look down on. Others, driven by poverty, turned to crime, becoming bandits or thugs for hire. Some even had to sell their family's ancestral armor, the symbol of their honor and lineage, just to put food on the table. It was a harsh lesson. Honor didn't pay the bills. This control wasn't just economic, it was total. Japan, under the Tokugawa shogunate, was a country that was not allowed to leave. The government enacted a policy of extreme isolation known as sukoku, which lasted for over 200 years. They shut the doors to the outside world, believing that foreign influence was a poison. If a Japanese person managed to leave the country, they were executed if they ever tried to return. Foreigners who shipwrecked on Japanese shores were often killed. Christianity, which had gained a small foothold before this period, was seen as the ultimate threat to the shogun's power. It was brutally stamped out. Anyone suspected of being a Christian faced torture and death. Foreign books were banned and burned. New ideas were feared more than any weapon. The government operated on a simple, chilling principle. Ignorance was safety. If people didn't know about the outside world, they wouldn't desire it. So how did the shogun maintain this iron-fisted peace for so long? Here's a secret strategy that most people don't know about. The shogun used hostages. The powerful regional lords, the daimyo, were a constant threat of rebellion. To keep them in line, the shogun implemented a system called sakenkatai. This forced every daimyo to live for a year in the capital city of Edo, and then a year in their own domain, alternating back and forth. But here's the catch. Their wives and children had to live in Edo permanently. They were hostages, plain and simple. Rebellion is a lot harder to plan when your entire family is already captured by the person you want to overthrow. Peace wasn't built on trust, it was built on leverage. But human nature can't be controlled completely. By day, everyone played their part. They bowed, they obeyed, they followed the endless rules. But by night, Edo transformed. Hidden away from the watchful eyes of the authorities, a secret world thrived. This was the Ukiyo, the floating world. Here, in the designated pleasure districts, the rigid social order melted away. Kabuki theaters exploded in popularity, and the actors became underground celebrities, trendsetters adored by the public. In the tea houses, geishas entertained wealthy patrons. But these weren't just pretty faces. Geishas were masters of art, music, and conversation. They were trained in intelligence and wit, offering a form of mental escape that was just as intoxicating as any physical pleasure. This was the one place where people could feel truly alive, where they could experience art, desire, and a flicker of freedom. And the government allowed it to exist. Why? Because they understood a crucial principle. Controlled pleasure keeps people quiet. A little escape valve prevents the whole system from exploding. For centuries, this delicate balance of control and release held. It seemed like the Tokugawa shogunate had created a system that could last forever. Then, in 1853, everything changed. Black ships appeared in Edo Bay. These weren't trading vessels. They were American warships, armed with powerful cannons pointed directly at the heart of Japan. Commodore Matthew Perry had arrived with a simple, non-negotiable demand: open the country, or face the consequences. Centuries of isolation ended in a matter of days. The proud samurai drew their swords, but their steel was useless against modern naval cannons. The system that had promised eternal peace and stability proved to be a fragile house of cards. It failed instantly when confronted by a world that had moved on without it. The Edo period didn't fall because of a great internal rebellion. It fell because it had tried to stop time, and the world simply refused to wait. So this brings us to a question that history rarely asks. If you had the choice, would you rather live in a world of chaos and uncertainty, but with total freedom? Or would you choose a life of guaranteed peace and stability, but inside a beautiful, gilded cage? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into the hidden side of history, make sure to follow and subscribe for more.